Good morning, Patriots. How you doing today? This is Mike the Patriot coming to you live from the downtown metropolis of LaMonte, Missouri, a city that is so metropolipolis. We have a Casey's and a Dollar General. And that's about it. Hope you guys having a great day wherever you're at. Guy in the comment section yesterday complaining about the boomers out in California own all the houses and there's no way he's ever going to buy one out in California. He or she, I don't know which. To which I responded, move. That's it. That's all I said. You see, your destiny is in your own hand. Just move. It's simple, really. But I don't want to leave California. It's got all this stuff. Matthew Herring says Lamont is Little Mexico. Hey, but they all have their green cards or something. Anyways, I ain't seen no ice around here. All of my neighbors are Mexicans, and they're quiet. And unlike in Sedalia, Missouri, Matthew, they walk around the neighborhood. They won't. It's right raining right this evening when it's nice out. There'll be 20 or 30 little families walking around the neighborhood, just walking and strolling and talking, speaking Spanish, which I don't fit in. I was at the Mexican restaurant last night, El Tapatio, the best in town, for the Pachyderm Club meeting. And when the waiter came along, I just pointed at the menu and I said, I barely speak English. You know, I'm not even going to try to speak Spanish. I want that one. Oh, this is the day that the Lord has made it. I will rejoice and be glad in it because, Lord, I need you. And the word of the day is presented by Marine in the Woods, is given by the Lord, is Romans 1, 12 through 32. Romans 1, 12 through 32. Make sure you crack open the Bible and see what God has for you today, because God is absolutely good all the time. Now I got to talk about, so we will have a show after the show today, but it won't be till about noon, because over at Nueva, they're having a big to-do because this is the 1-year anniversary. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. They're having a big to-do, and I want to be a part of it. So we're gonna. I won't do the show after the show until about noon. I've got way too much stuff to cover, and so you want to be part of the show after show. How do you become part of the show after show? You might ask. Well, let me tell you right now. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you right now. This is how you do it. You go over to the Patriot Mike Show or Patriot Mike Cook, however you want to look it up on Rumble. Doesn't matter. It'll come up either way. Hit the join button right there. Right? It'll pop up, says, do you want to support? And then pulls up right here. It's $5 a month. And you can hit the promo code, which for this month is April Showers. April Showers gives you the first month free. That's how you do it. And you go watch the show after the show. Got a lot. We're going to lots to talk about. I will play the video that I was going to start the show off with today, but I can't because I'm on all the channels. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Rumble. I'm on X. And if I played the video that I wanted to play because it has the Star Wars theme to it, they would immediately kick me off of YouTube and Facebook. Gone. Copyright. Oh my God, how dare you? So I, at the last moment, said, you better not do that. It's hard enough as it is with these people. So let me just tell you. I want to tell you the story. So what happened? What am I talking about? If you don't know, you don't know. By the way, today's show is sponsored by Elevate and Boost. Elevate and Boost, a one little tiny pill and a couple little energy gummies that give you a pick-me-up in the afternoon without the jits and the jiggles that come from other stimulants. And the Elevate, my wife is, if you were part of the Patriot Mike Show and you were supporting me with the OVA, remember that product? This is not like OVA. It's better. And so today's show is brought to you by Elevate. The link is right up there somewhere with your QR code or in the description section, or just go over to Facebook and send me a message, or send me a message at PatriotMikeShow@gmail.com. I'll send you the link. Elevate. My wife has been taking it now since it came out. Marine says his wife is down 6 pounds on Elevate. My wife's down 10. She's been taking it longer. Where other things have failed, this seems to be working. She sleeps better through the night. She's happier during the day. This is her saying it to me. And I'll tell you guys, a happy wife is a good life. I'm telling you, she doesn't get upset or let things stress her out as much. The Elevate seems to just kind of elevate things, but also level things out. If you want to get in on it, do that. That's who's sponsoring the show today, is Elevate and Boost. There's a combo pack where you can get them both for one money. Now, that being said, what happened 1 year ago today is actually tomorrow, but it was on Friday. Friday after, I'm sitting here fat, dumb, and happy. Friday was payday. They owed me $1,495 from the old company. And we got an email at the end of the day that said it's been real and it's been nice. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya, basically. It basically said, thanks for the good times. We're out of here. The company was owned by one of those investment brokerage things that go along and has destroyed all the big fast food chains. You know what I'm talking about. They dumped a bunch of debt on this 35, 40-year-old debt-free company worth billions of dollars and then liquidated it. Gone in a day. And we sat around. My wife was crying because it was, part of my income. What are we going to do? I called up John. He didn't answer, so I messaged him. He was a little busy. He was my upline, big time in the company, one of the largest people in the industry. And he messaged me back Saturday and said, don't do anything till you hear from me. I said, okay, wherever you're going, that's where I'm going. Sunday, he sent me a link to join up. Didn't have a name, didn't have anything. Monday morning, they incorporated and formed the company called Nueva. So it's Friday into Monday. They got some high players in the industry to get involved, along with some other people that made product procurement and backroom architecture a breeze because they own those kinds of businesses. We launched with our first product a few months later, and the rest is history. Multi-millions in sales. Thousands of people have joined up. Tens of thousands of people have become customers. We have, again, this group of people have changed the way the industry works. We are cutting edge science in the peptides, cutting edge science in the energy drink. It has been a phenomenal ride. It was devastation to elevation. It was a disaster. Oh my gosh, how am I going to pay the bills? We're almost back to where we were, and it's even growing faster, and it's growing fast. Now it's starting to catch momentum where people are actually coming to us to ask us what we're doing, which is interesting. And this is still a ground floor opportunity. Like I said, the old company was 40 years old, was doing billions in sales. We got a long way to go before we get to billions in sales. And somewhere between here and there, some people are going to do pretty well. So if you're interested, again, PatriotMikeShow@gmail.com, PatriotMikeShow@gmail.com. And let's talk. Let's see if this is a ground floor opportunity for you. Now, I'll mind you, it takes a learning curve. It takes work. There's no get rich quick here. I don't do get rich quick. And I don't promise you a permanent residual income for the rest of your life if you don't do anything, because that doesn't exist anywhere. I don't care what you are. I don't care who you are. That's not the way that it works. Even if you're like insurance or something like that, where you get a residual, you get the premium residual every month. If you don't maintain that and work at that, eventually those accounts will walk away and you'll have nothing, just like everything else. No worky, no payee. But there is an opportunity. So I just wanted to bring that up. And I want to say this. The owners of the company are the reason why I'm going to start at noon on the show after the show. The owners of the company at 11 a.m. Central are doing a video to talk about all of this from the inside. So you get all the dirty details. So if you're curious or interested or want to know more about it, it's on our private page, our private company page. I can get you added to that, but you have to send me a message right now to get you added. So send me a message over on Facebook on my personal page. It's in the description section on Rumble, or if you're watching on Facebook, it's in the description section there too. But my personal page, if you're watching on my personal page, come on, you know where. Send me a message, and we'll get you in there. You can see what it's all about, because maybe you've done something like this before. Maybe you're doing something like this now, and you got a little bit of team, and it's kind of like, sucking. Or maybe you like what you're doing, but maybe the company isn't right, or maybe the product isn't right, or things have changed. I know a lot of companies are abandoning their teams, abandoning their downlines, their field agents, so to speak. Let's talk, because I think I got a hold of something that is not BS hype, that's a legit company with legit products that nobody else has. And they all say that, don't they? But then you go look around and everybody's got a product like it. There's a couple products here nobody has. Anyways, so, and that makes a difference, by the way, when you can't get the product anywhere else. I recently started selling vinyl records on Whatnot. What are your thoughts about marketing your product and selling it there as well? You can. I don't know I don't know anybody that does it successfully, but yeah, I mean, you can. You can give it a shot. Send me a message, Jim, and we'll talk about it, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. Okay, it's not. There's some reasons why the way that we do this, the system that we use, works. So, what are the products, Mike? Well, send me a message, Glenda. You're on Facebook. Send me a message over on Facebook, and I will send you a link that you can peruse and show. But we got peptide products. We've got weight loss products. We got products like Elevate, which is just a thing of its own. We've got collagen products, the health and wellness stuff. So, anyways, let's get started with the show. Come on, I got a lot to talk about. I wish Mike would stop talking about himself. Gee whiz. Babylon Bee reporting tomorrow's news today in the form of satire, opinion. I know I was wrong the first 1,347 times, but now it's time to completely freak out about what Trump said. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Babylon Bee predicting. Thank you, Mike, for that. He says, good morning, Mike and Patriot friends. He hit the little tip jar. That's another way you can support the show, is a little tip jar over there on Rumble. And I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. You don't see that come up on your screen if you're watching on Facebook and stuff. You can't see it. But you can see it on Rumble, the chat. Anyways, I digress. Here we go. This is it. President Trump has crossed the line with his latest statement. He said a potty word. We can't just talk. We need to take action. And I know I've said it 1,347 times before, but it is for real this time. There's no overreaching to what Trump just said. There's no other way to interpret what he said other than that he's about to destroy a nation and the world. So what to do? Invoke the 25th Amendment. Remove Trump from power now. Again, I know I've suggested this many times in the past. But we really need to do something now. And to show I'm extra serious, this time I'm going to suggest a military coup. I haven't suggested a military coup in response to Trump's statements quite as many times. So you can really feel how serious this is. We can't just stand here. No president has ever said anything as irresponsible as, oh, Trump just said something new and it's 10 times worse? Ignore what I said. What Trump said before was nothing. This new thing is why Trump must be stopped now. Not that other thing I already forgot about. So who do we call to get the military coup going? Actually, phone calls make me anxious. Is there an online forum? That's about it. That's about how these people are, retarded as can be, in every form. And we're going to get to some of that. Donald Trump has spoken out against the Patriot mythology pushers, and we're going to get to that. But first, I've got something else I want to discuss because I called it. I said it. It was me. I have, for the last several years, been talking about the transients and the rest. And I've been saying LBGTQRSTUVWXYZ plus minus multiplication long division exclamation point question mark. I wanted to make sure that I got everybody covered. Everybody. And by God, was I not on to something, because they've literally taken up my mantra. Here they are in Canada.
When the budget was released,
Hold up, wait a minute. Let me slow it down a bit. You're going to need to listen to this one. Here we go.
When the budget was released, I was shocked to find out that Prime Minister Carney is cutting $7 billion between Indigenous Services Canada and Crown Indigenous Relations. They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2SLGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent. This is callous.
What was that?
To deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2SLGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
Well, I didn't get that. One more time.
$0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2SLGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent. This is callous. This is callous because the very Liberal government that has stripped organizations of life-sustaining funding.
The what? Let me tell you what it said. I got it written down. This is what it means, what she just said. Missing, murdered, Indigenous women, girls, two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer, questioning, intersex, asexual, plus. I mean, I said it as a joke. She was serious about that. Serious. And of course, at the same podium, these freaks come up and decided they had something to say.
We will not let fear win. A world without trans people has never existed. A world without drag has never existed, and it never will. Queer people have always been here amongst us. They are our coworkers. They are our brothers, our sisters. They are our mothers, our fathers. They are our families. Drag is art. Drag is culture. Drag is educational. Drag is creative. Drag is comedy, but drag is not a crime. My name is Scarlett Bobo, and thank you so much for your time.
Drag is comedy, obviously, and it's not a crime. However, you going into the bathroom with my daughter, a crime might be committed. I'm just saying. I might have to forget about that I'm a Christian for a few minutes. There's a reason why I call them transients. There's a reason why I say that. Because these people, they know no bounds. There's no, it's insanity. It's insanity. It's like this guy right here. He's got it figured out. This guy's got it figured out right here.
Shout out to the LGBTQ PS5 HDMI rev. Shout out to the LGBTQ PS5 HDMI rev.
Shout out to the HGQ PS5 HDMI. That's it right there. That's perfect in my opinion, because that's about what it is. You know, it's a slippery slope that we've been down. I don't know if you've noticed it. in the last few years, it started out like this: let's get married, let us get married. So let two dudes get married, whatever. Bake our cake, use our pronouns, allow minors to dance for us in drag. Let teachers choose your kid's gender. Normalize pedophilia. Oh, did I just say that on Facebook? This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. It's a shame that you have to do that. They don't want you to say the words. So someone went and made what she said more clear. I just want to make sure you understand. They made it more clear. So they transposed it.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIWG2SLGBTQQIAP2SAAJ and BPFQ5GCOMGBBQ AGNCDE7 SHRR DRR SGP++. It's abhorrent.
It is.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of.
It is abhorrent. It is abhorrent. I think I about covered it, especially the BBQ. You know, Kansas City, we got pretty good BBQ, you know. I don't know what that means in the transient world, but I'm sure it means something. I mean, they like to, before they do their Brokeback Mountain stuff, maybe they like to lather themselves in some Kansas City barbecue sauce. I don't know. Anyways, one does not simply identify as gay any longer. Now it's MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA plus minus multiplication long division exclamation point question mark. Make sure you get it all in there. Don't forget R2D2 and C3PO. Yeah, right. I mean, the jokes write themselves. You don't have to try hard. These people are out of control. They sit here and say that the megas are crazy. I mean, these people can't figure out what gender they are. You got two choices, A or B.
With the ongoing genocide of MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
With the ongoing genocide of
Yeah, I really don't know I don't have any idea. I don't have any idea. And Fat JD had to get into the act.
JD, if you spell this word correctly, you will be crowned this year's Scripps National Spelling Bee Champion. The word is Meathwig2SlugBuckUE+. Can you give me the country of origin, please? Yes, of course. The country of origin is none other than Canada. Can you give me the definition, please? A single word used to describe every minority group ever conceived, including several that are still pending approval. Mish Wig 2 Slug Bupku E+. Can you use it in a sentence? You are not a member of the Wig 2 Slug Bupku community, therefore we will not be hiring you for this position. Wig 2 Slug Baku plus MMIWG2SLGBTQIA+. That is correct. You are this year's National Spelling Bee Champion. Congratulations.
Fat JD is the National Spelling Bee Championship because he figured out whatever the heck that woman said. I don't just, I'm telling you, the memes are just writing themselves. You can't get any better than this. Except for Donald Trump. Donald Trump can get better than this. Donald Trump came out yesterday and blasted I mean, he straight up blasted all the Patriot mythology pushers by name. Now, let's just go. Here's the post. Donald Trump over on his Truth Social. Here he goes.
We don't know what he said at the end of the sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
I don't think what he knows said it either. But anyways, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go. I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Alex Jones have been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the number one state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon because they have one thing in common: low IQ. They're stupid people. They know it, their families know it, and everyone knows it too. Look at their past, look at their past, look at their record. They don't have what it takes, and they never did. They've all been thrown off television, lost their shows, and aren't even invited on TV because nobody cares about them. They're nut job troublemakers and will say anything necessary for some free and cheap publicity. Now they think they got some clicks because they have third-rate podcasts, but nobody's talking about them. And their views are opposite of MAGA. Or I wouldn't have won the presidential election in a landslide. MAGA agrees with me and just gave CNN a 100% approval rating of Trump. Not hand-failing fools like Tucker Carlson, who couldn't even finish college. He was a broken man when he got fired from Fox, and he's never been the same. Perhaps he should have a good psychiatrist. Or Megyn Kelly, who's nasty, asked me the now famous only Rosie O'Donnell question, or crazy Candace Owens, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she's not, and will hopefully win lots of money in her ongoing lawsuit. Actually, to me, the First Lady of France is far more beautiful woman than Candace. In fact, it's not even close. Or bankrupt Alex Jones, who says some of the dumbest things. They're making the frogs gay. And lost his entire fortune, as he should have, for the horrible attack on the families of the Sandy Hook shooting victims, ridiculously claiming it was a hoax. These so-called pundits are losers, and they always will be. Now, fake news CNN, the failing New York Times, and the other radical left news organizations are hailing them and giving them positive press for the first time in their lives. They're not MAGA, they're losers, just trying to latch on to MAGA as president. I could get them on my side anytime I want to. But when they call, I don't return their calls because I'm too busy on world and current and country affairs. And after a few times, they go nasty, just like Marjorie Trader Brown. But I no longer care about that stuff. I only care about doing right for our country. MAGA is about winning and strength in not allowing Iran to have nuclear weapons. MAGA is about making America great again, and these people have no idea how to do that. But I do, because the United States is now the hottest country anywhere in the world. President Donald J. Trump. So I think he said how he feels. I'm not sure, Mr. President. Is that how you really feel? I mean, it could be, I think, maybe. I don't know. Could be how you really feel. So Donald Trump is letting them have it, so to speak. Letting them have it. You know, he calls Candace Owens and the rest low IQ. Well, here's what he's referring to, I think. Here is Candace Owens, low IQ. Now, I can't rag on Candace Owens about not being able to pronounce words because, but I don't go around telling you that I'm smarter than everybody else. I admit that I have 0 degrees except for 98.8 degrees, right? And I also admit that I'm not a smart person. I'm just some schmuck on the internet. I admit it. but even I had Candace Owens figured out a long time ago. Here she is.
I don't know many of the details, but I know that recently Candace said that Egyptian registered aircraft were following Erica Kirk, Charlie's widow, around for a number of years in different places in the world. That's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard. And I just want to say that that is factually true. That's true. So that's like the one data point that I happen to know is true.
And when you hear Tucker Carlson say that he is confirming that that part is true, what I take from that, Tucker Carlson has been very clear. He grew up with CIA agents, okay? This is a guy who grew up in Virginia. His father, he learned after his father died, he thought he was just working with the CIA. No, his father was on the payroll of the CIA. So Tucker's friends are in the state. So you should take it as a concrete fact that there's something up with these Egyptian planes, and they were in fact following around Charlie, and they were following around Erica, as I told you. And that means people in the NSA, the CIA, are confirming that that is real.
Oh, yeah. You know, Joe Kent, that's who confirmed it was real. It says Donald Trump was questioning. Donald Trump is absolutely correct in labeling Tucker Carlson Candace Owens low IQ. After Candace Owens dropped her Egyptian planes were following Kirk's theory without evidence, Tucker Carlson then went on Theo Vaughn's podcast and said it's factually true. Again, without evidence. Candace...
many of the details, but I know that
I ain't talking to you no more. Candace then not only used Tucker Carlson's statement as evidence. That's what you call Nancy Pelosi's wrap-up smear, by the way. She also argued that because Tucker's father was in the CIA and he grew up around people in the state by extension, that means people in the NSA and the CIA are confirming that that is real. Excuse me. Throw in Tucker going all in on Candace's Bridget McCrone claim, and I think that the Bridget McCrone claim is absolutely hilarious, and that I don't know if Bridget McCrone is a man or not, but she is a pervert and a pedophile because she met and had a relationship with now French Prime Minister Macron when he was 15 years old, and she was his teacher. That's all confusing. But someone told me it's okay because it's okay in France. Whatever. Anyways, so you get the point, right? You get the point. But there's more. But wait, there's more. If you order now, we'll send you a free set of Ginzu chopping knives. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There's more Candace Owens to go around. And I see some folks have rated. AP4 Liberty have rated. How you doing? Appreciate you being here. That's a Rumble thing, by the way. Support all the small folks can support each other that way. Appreciate it. Here's Candace Owens in her own words, or some reasonable facsimile thereof.
Instagram, you see she has millions of followers, and you think, okay, this is an illiterate person. Kind of read books. I'm just fascinated with learning real history because I think that truth is kind of, what actually has happened, the events of our world, is obviously, as the expression goes, way stranger in fiction. To do it again posthumously, Charlie Kirk, the founder of TPUSA, will be posthumously honored a posthumous award. They've decided posthumously, cordially accepted those posthumous terms. SCIF. Which stands for a sensitive, compartmented, if you can't compartmentalize, and a CEO and a chairman has to compartmentalize. The IDF even dropped napalm 12.5 miles off the coast of the Sinai Peninsula. Is that correct when you arrive into the Sinai Peninsula?
Sinai.
Illiterate person in Portland, Oregon. The Hamptons debacle came up. Hamptons, okay? Remember that whole debacle? We knew a kerfluffle happened as this dress kerfluffle causes this whole race kerfluffle. Ways you can honor Charlie. Stop telling us that it has to always be Miss Macabre, like retired Green Beret, allegedly a heart attack. Normal passion, not this like chat GBT. At last I checked, everybody uses the terminology blitzkrieg. Everybody uses the term blitzkrieg. And so I called it Blitzkrieg Week. You can't even say blitz. means lightning. Krieg means war. Even and the NFL football team say Blitzkrieg. Like, God, like, no, he just liked the architecture. Smells in the bells. He loved the architecture. It was about the architecture. Like, yeah, he loves the architecture. I think this may have been about more than the architecture. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade. They buried a lot of it. Buried the Charlie Kirk story. What about his burial? How come we haven't seen anything about his burial? Alex Jones was just burying himself. And Alex Jones jumped into the foray. Mock me and Tucker Carlson. It's always got to be Tucker Carlson, camera silence. And of course, the world is quite literally a stage. By the way, I always wonder where that expression comes from. Can you look it up, Skylar? The world is a stage. Where is that from? I actually don't know where that's from originally. That would be interesting to see. Totally like insane Alice in Wonderland. And then like all of a sudden there's like a Cheshire cat who's like smoking.
Night by Elie Wiesel.
Night by Eli Weitzel. Mentioning Elie Wiesel. Oh, it's Shakespearean. All the world's a stage. Interesting.
Conspiracy.
Very interesting.
Do you have a favorite book?
I read a lot. I don't know if I have a favorite book. Oh.
Nothing favorite? All right, I'll take it.
Because that's what she is. She's illiterate.
She doesn't have a favorite book. I think I'm going to steal the word architecture. How does she say it? I can't even say how she said it. Never mind. Forget it. You know, to those of you that are rating the show today, I butcher words. I admit it. And I also do it intentionally from time to time because it's fun. And I like getting the grammar police all upset. Oh, and I do suffer greatly from dyslexia. And I think Candace Owens, by the way, has dyslexia. I really do. And I don't mean that as a negative thing. I see what I do in her, but I don't go around claiming to be an expert. All the Words of the Stage is a name of an album by the band called Rush. Well, yes, but Shakespeare used it first. But Rush is pretty doggone good. I mean, I gotta admit, they're pretty good. And then there's this video. There's this video right here. And this video is a little bit long and hard to watch, but we're going to watch it anyways. This video is claiming that old Tucky boy, that old Tucker Carlson, and I imagine a bunch of the others are getting paid, but not by the Jews. In fact, it's probably the source of the rumor that the Jews are paying people $7,000. It's probably the source is the people paying Tucker. Here we go. Watch this. That's right. I do love the washing machine. That's the way we say it here in Missouri. You got a problem with that?
I'm going to explain this very simple so somebody with your ignorance can understand. And here's the proof that you, Tucker Carlson, and many other news outlets in the United States have been bought and paid for by Qatari government to spread their own Islamic propaganda.
الصحفيين كانوا على البيرول مالنا شلون كنا ندفع لهم بعضهم صاروا نواب الآن وبعضهم صاروا وطنيين عرفوا أنا في دول كثيرة كانوا ندفع لهم يعني نشرحهم كل سنة وفي ناس لهم مرتبات كان في ذاك كل الدول العربية كانت تعمله شو انت فكرك مش الكل ولكن الأغلبية.
When claiming the uprising in Iran is driven by Israel or United States, understand this clearly. You're not only wrong, you're putting Iranian lives in danger. Iranians are not rising because of foreign influence. They're rising because they're living under oppressive regime that arrests, tortures, and kills its own people, including children. Iranians do not need anyone from outside to tell them to resist. The danger is not the insult to Iranian agency. We can endure that. The danger is the consequence of the narrative you're repeating. When the Iranian regime executes protesters, it does not admit they were demanding freedom. It calls them foreign agents, Zionist spies, CIA, Mossad-backed. These accusations are the justification used in courts, prisons, and execution orders. When you repeat the claims that this movement is foreign-driven, you're echoing the regime's own propaganda. You're giving it an international cover. You're signaling that the world would accept the claim that these young people were spies and not citizens fighting for dignity and their human rights. Remember, teenagers, students, young women and men, their lives are at stake. This is not just a misinformation, it is the normalization of their killing. Iranians are not proxy. They're a nation demanding basic human rights. Stop repeating regime's propaganda. You beat your chest for America first. Here is your American in Iran chanting death to America, and it's not a propaganda.
Glory to all the martyrs, glory to the actions of resistance. May we see victory within our lifetimes. Margbar America, Margbar Israel.
You claim to be activists. I have to ask you, have you ever attended one of the many protests that Iranians have had in the United States? Have you ever talked to them? Do you know what their message is? Have you even asked what they're looking for? But you have made sure to attend Arab Con in Dearborn, Michigan, because that's what your Qatari propaganda boss wants you to do.
Everybody, it's Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks. I'm going to Arab Con.
I don't care about what your beliefs are. I just want you to stop spreading propaganda about Iranian people. And by the way, next time talking to a woman, stop yelling and making faces at them. This is United States of America. It's not governed by Sharia law that you can do whatever you want to women. Women have rights.
So there's evidence, not proof, but there's evidence that some of these people are getting paid. Of course, I've said that for a while now. You know, my prediction, actually it's not mine, it's God. It's a Holy Spirit inspired that Tucker Carlson will convert to Islam. Now, he will be as Islamic as he is Episcopalian, which is to say not very much in name only, but he will convert and he will make a public scene of it. He's already defending it. He's already going around saying that they are the nation, the religion of peace. And besides, Islam is the religion of peace, and they mean that so much that they'll kill you to prove it. Yep. Good times. Speaking of, here's Marjorie Taylor Brown, as Trump says. Over on InfoWars with Alex Jones. They're turning the frogs gay.
And my God, gut the deep state. That was what we wanted so bad. Hold people accountable for the love of God. Put Anthony Fauci in jail. Put people.
So she's mad that Donald Trump hasn't cut the deep state. When last year, Doge went and cut billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, cut USAID, cut extra spending to a bunch of, like, I think it was 1.4 million employees on the payroll of the U.S. government that they found didn't exist. They cut all that stuff. She was a member of freaking Congress. And you know what she did about it? Nothing. The Republicans in Congress did nothing. And so all those cuts and stuff that Doge and Trump did went away. Marjorie, why didn't you put a bill forth to codify the Doge cuts? That would have gone a long way to eliminating the swamp. No, what'd you do? You dove into the swamp and wallered in it.
And my God, gut the deep state. That was what we wanted so bad. Hold people accountable for the love of God. Put Anthony Fauci in jail. Put people in prison for what they've done to the American people.
Oh, they killed, Todd Blanche killed all the investigations now. He's the head of all those investigations.
Yeah, and nothing will happen. That's the other thing. Going forward in the future, Alex,
I'm sorry to interrupt this, but I've got to, because that's a flat out lie by these two, and it's a lie they know. in Florida, there's a grand jury right now investigating all of that. And there's indictments coming from that grand jury, according to Kash Patel, Pam Bundy, and Donald Trump, and others in the administration. Right now, that's the investigation. As I've pointed out, and there's some new folks on here, so I'll say this again. My sister is in law enforcement out in California. I don't want to say where or what. But I asked her, she works for a DA in a large city. I asked her, I said, if there's a crime, a man in a passion shoots his wife and kills her, the police kick open the front door, and there he is standing covered in blood with a smoking gun in his hand, and out of the passion and remorse and anxiety or whatever it is, goes, I did it on police camera. I shot my wife in the face and killed her. I did it. I said, you got that. I said, how long does it take to run him through the system, prosecute him, and convict him? She said 2 to 5 years. It's only been a year. And they don't got the smoking gun, and they don't got the confession on police body cam. But then again, I ask, what did Marjorie Taylor Greene do while she was a sitting member of Congress, and why did she quit in the middle of her term?
This is the discussion that we need to keep having. And we are, me and you and others, and we do it offline, and it's important. And we need to make sure that we're in control and we are guiding the ship, because President Trump is soon to be the past. And everyone needs to learn to start looking past him. President Trump is going to be gone very soon. And we have to build a future for our children and our grandchildren. And that's the part that's most important to think about. And the way I think it needs to be going forward is we have to recognize what a failure the Republican Party is. We have to be willing to step outside political boundaries and go, what type of leaders do we really want? And for me, it's America first. I want moral America first leaders that will put the American people first instead of their own interest or their friends or whatever disgusting things they're doing, which is sadly the case. But I think that is where the future is going. And Republicans are going to get killed in the midterms. I've been saying it for a long time. It's going to be a bloodbath. And you know what? It shouldn't happen. It wasn't supposed to be that way, but so be it. You can't blame people for refusing to want to vote for a party that has failed them over and over and over again. And I don't blame people. It's like, why do you want to keep buying a product that is crap?
Yeah, that's why you left Congress, because people are sick and tired of buying a product that's crap. You. I mean, for real. Endless ranks of human debris. That's what this is right here. I totally have no respect for her. I thought she was the real deal at the beginning. She wasn't. Many others aren't either. You know, these Patriot mythology insurgencies, that's why I call them that, because they said all the things to get you to vote for them, said all the things to get their podcast the number 1 or number 2 or number 3 or whatever it is, only to turn around and stab you in the back. You know, Donald Trump pointed out that Megyn Kelly was a never Trumper from the beginning. She's a never Trumper now. She just made her wealth, her podcast, to have a big audience that she could sell advertising on, pretending to be mega, because that's where the money was. And by the way, Marjorie Taylor Brown, she says that Republicans are going to lose in the midterm. Want to bet? First, let me say this. The midterms are going to be all screwed up, because a lot of people are going to follow Marjorie Taylor Greene out the door. I'm telling you, it's coming. She wasn't wrong about the Republican Party itself. No, she isn't wrong about the Republican Party. That's why she's trying to destroy MAGA, because she's right there with them. Remember when they were trying to get a new Speaker of the House, she supported McCarthy. Remember that? John Bullen, how did you know that's where I was going next? I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know. But it's the type of business. I mean, who's cheating who and who's being true and who don't even care anymore? Who's doing right by someone tonight? Whose car's parked next door? That is Washington, D.C. That is our media. That is Hollywood. They're all sleeping with each other in some form or fashion. All of them. So I have no idea. Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling for the GOP to be burned to the ground. Think about that for a second. Now, I've been screaming about the GOP for longer than Marjorie Taylor Greene has been a thing. I didn't have the money back in me to become famous like her. But that's okay. I have been, and everybody watches my shows knows what I say, that the Republican Party for my entire lifetime has done absolutely nothing on the issues that matter to the base, like abortion. If you just vote harder and give us more money, we'll get them next time. But they never did anything. The only politician to do anything was Donald Trump. And when in the last election cycle, when Donald Trump was running against Kamala Harris, a bunch of the never Trumper GOPers came out. The Christian Coalition came out. And by the way, the Christian Coalition was compromised by the deep state. The Newt Gingrich revolution was conquered by the deep state. The Tea Party was conquered by the deep state. They were all taken over. And now they're trying to do the same thing with MAGA. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene is. An agent of the deep state trying to take over. They want to steal, make America great again from Trump so they can compromise it and use it. You got to remember, it's the Republican Party that went along with no protest, the dissent decree that said only Democrats could be poll watchers. And then in 2020, when a different judge got before that dissent decree and said, "What the hell is this? You can't do this," and undid that, what happened? The Republican poll watchers in many cities like Pennsylvania, or that's not a city, by the way, Philadelphia, were ran out when they started counting the ballots, and they put paper on the windows so they couldn't see in. Do you remember that? They didn't have to do it before because there was no Republicans. They weren't allowed by court order. And the Republican Party did nothing. The Republican Party was completely satisfied with being the minority party, be invited to the parties, the ones Madison Cawthorn talked about. And that's the reason why he was ran out of town on a rail by Mitch McConnell and his super PAC. Those parties, the Brokeback Mountain parties, the who's cheating who and who's being true parties, the upside down pineapple parties. Have you ever been to those parties, Marjorie? I'm asking for a friend. Because I really don't want to know. Never mind. Forget it. I don't want to know. But that's who these people are, all of them. They're all corrupt, compromised, perverted. Remember J.C. Watts, Oklahoma, in the 90s, left Congress because he said it was nothing but a bunch of debauchery. And he didn't want to be tainted by it. I remember that. It is utterly, utterly ridiculous who these people are. You know, let me just point something out to you. How big this thing really is. Breaking. Pope Leo the whatever, let's see, that's 10 and then the 14. Is that 14th? Leo the 14th met today with former Obama strategist David M. Axelrod. Why? Because Donald Trump is destroying not the deep state in DC, the deep state in the world. He's cornering them. And that's why all assets are activated. We're finding out who is and who ain't. And as little guys, we are. And those big people that the ones that got 2.85 million followers and their shows get 120,000 views, that's because all the followers are bought. Yeah. I have 6,000 followers on Rumble and I get 4,000, 4,500, 5,000 views. Just do the math. If I had 1 million followers, I should be getting 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 views by the math. Why don't they? Because figures don't lie, but liars figure. That's why. That's why. So now what are they doing? They're calling for the 25th Amendment. You've heard them all screaming and hollering, 25th, 25th, we got to do the 25th. Marjorie Taylor Greene, we got to do the 20th. J.D. Vance needs to do 20. It's not going to happen. If the cabinet doesn't act, just like when Joe Biden was in there, and if there was ever anybody that qualified for the 25th Amendment, it was Joe Biden. But they never did. Why? Because they would have to give up their own power. It's not going to happen. The 25th Amendment is smoke and mirrors put in place by the Uniparty to make you think, oh, if we get a rogue president that's not doing what we want, we can get rid of him. No, you can't. They know it. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. Here is, I cannot believe how much I agree with this guy, Fetterman, on the 25th Amendment.
If you make these kinds of let's go for the 25th Amendment, and then then we have a ceasefire, then it's like taco. I mean, like you can't have it both ways. I mean, so where we are, it's like strange to be gleeful that that we still have to accomplish some things and make these kinds of statements. I mean, I'm old enough to remember we used to root for our military, and we would all agree that Iran is the world's leading terrorism underwriter.
Yeah, but now we don't. Why is that? Because we're getting checks, getting deposits of crypto and stuff, buying homes at Qatar. It's so beautiful. Qatar is beautiful. Saudi Arabia is beautiful. Jordan is beautiful. United Arab Emirates is beautiful. Yemen is beautiful. Somaliland is beautiful, says Tucker Carlson. But Israel has Jews in it. Oh my God, I can't even leave the airport. Yeah. It's kind of like, how do I know Tucker Carlson is converting to Islam? Because God said so. But however, there's signs. For example, Barack Obama, how do we know that he's not a Christian and is an Islamist? Because he says things like, there's nothing more beautiful than the call of prayer in the morning. There's a God-fearing Christian on the planet who believes that Jesus Christ is their Lord and Savior that would say such a thing. Well, Carol, I had someone else ask me that exact same question last night. She says, how can a nation without a navy inhibit the ability to move through the strait? Because they still have their cheap little drones. And all it takes, if you're driving millions of barrels of oil through the 12 miles of the strait, All it takes is one of those little drones with a 500-pound bomb on it to go boom on your deck, and your whole ship goes up in smoke. So the threat of that makes them not cross through the Hormuz. That's the threat. That's the problem. And yes, I'm sure our Navy can shoot down many of them, but then we're back into a battle of attrition where they're launching, $1,000 drones and we're shooting them down with $150,000 missiles. So, and there's other technologies in play, but however, that's what's going on right now. But don't get ahead of us. We're gonna try to talk about some other stuff when it comes to that. Donald Trump, he's not being fooled by them. You see, you got to understand in this game of negotiation, it's kind of like when I was selling cars. Okay, I can relate because I sold cars for a living for years and years and years. I have the car. I have the cookie. I have what you want, right? So I have the power in the negotiation, especially if you don't have any walk-away power. You can steal that power from me if you're willing to walk away, but you're not. So I got you. I got you. Well, Donald Trump holds the power here. Why? Because if we blow up all their power plants and their bridges today or tomorrow or next week or next month, it's irrelevant. There's nothing they can do to stop us. So let's give peace a chance. Is that what the hippies always say? Give peace a chance? Isn't that what they're chanting on the streets? Let's give peace a chance. And when they do the stupid stuff and they reject all the proposals, then we just bomb the snot out of them. Problem solved. Here is Stephen A. Smith on Marjorie Taylor Greene and the 25th BS.
And unlike Marjorie Taylor Greene or a bunch of people on the right, bloviating, talking out of both sides of their mouth, knowing that they're pushing for something that'll never happen, meaning invoking the 25th Amendment, that ain't gonna happen. As long as he's alive and breathing, Donald Trump's gonna be the president until the end of the year 2028. It's just a fact. The 25th Amendment will not be executed. Stop it. Just say what Stephen A. said. You got former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene right there, 25th Amendment, not a single bomb has dropped on America. We cannot kill an entire civilization. This is evil and madness. Yeah. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. This is not foreign policy. It's a deranged madman threatening to wipe out an entire country. It's past time the 25th Amendment must be invoked. Stop it. All you're showing is how useless you are. To invoke the 25th Amendment, you're going to have to get the vice president to sign off, the Republicans in the House to sign off, cabinet members to sign off, basically declaring him unfit. It's something the president is fully capable of fighting by saying he's not unfit. And as a result, it's a reason why it's never been exercised in American history. Stop it.
Yep. And Stephen A. Smith, as usual, in his little rants, he's common sense right. I don't agree with everything he says, but he has a bunch of common sense, and he's common sense right. It's not going to happen. The same reason it didn't happen under Joe Biden, which out of all the presidents in the last 250 years of this country, Joe Biden was the perfect example of the 25th Amendment, and they didn't do it because it was their power. They would have to sacrifice their own power. And if there's one thing, if you haven't figured it out yet about politicians, is they don't sacrifice their own power ever, except for Marjorie Taylor Greene, which I don't understand. She had the power. She was a sitting member of Congress. She had a year left. Why did she quit in the middle of it? Inquiring minds still want to know. Mike, thank you for that. Hitting the tip jar down in the bottom there, if you choose to, in the chat room on Rumble. I think liberals should volunteer to fight for Iran. Taxpayers won't mind. Buy them a one-way ticket. You mean fight for Iran as in fight on the side of the folks or the side of the government in Iran, or go there for us and fight. I don't know. I agree with you, though. Either way is fine. Oh, yes. I got one more. And not to be outdone, speaking of vice presidents, Mike Pence all of a sudden is now praising Donald Trump. He's doing the right thing. Donald Trump is after doing the right thing because he needs to do the right thing when he does the right thing.
You know, there was a lot of talk about 5 weeks ago about America starting a war. This war started 47 years ago. And Iran has been waging war on America, on our most cherished ally, Israel, during those 5 decades. And I give President Trump all the credit in the world for pulling the trigger last year with Operation Midnight Hammer, going directly at their nuclear facilities, and then making the decision to unleash our armed forces, finally directly against the mullahs in Tehran, who've been claiming American lives, Israeli lives, using proxies across the region to wage war. Now we've taken the fight to them. And I have to tell you, I couldn't be more proud of the armed forces of the United States in cooperation with Israel. We have literally decimated the military capabilities of Iran. It's been a brilliant campaign, Operation Epic Fury. Every American should be proud. And I think it's set the conditions now where the president has been willing to initiate a ceasefire, to look for negotiations, to bring a diplomatic end. But my perspective, Brian, is at the end of the day, we've got to finish the job. If it can't be finished diplomatically, the United States of America, our allies in the region, have got to go back to the military solution. And I truly do believe this is a historic moment, not only to secure peace in the region, but to make the world safer across the board. I mean, Iran is the leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world. And taking the fight directly to the mullahs, decimating their ability to project force, has made America and the free world safer.
But Mr. Vice.
Okay. There's Mike Pence. Mike Pence is now turning in favor of Trump because he wants to run for president in 2028. That's what that's all about. But I have a question. I have another question. Something's not right here. You notice his eyebrows? And this one kept doing the Spock thing as he was talking. But you notice the eyebrows? If you notice, there's the shadow from where he shaves. You notice is he cutting his eyebrows and shaving them so that it gives him the sad eyes, the sad eyes. It's giving him these puppy dog eyes, the Bill Clinton eyes. I did not have sex relation with that woman, not one time. It depends on what your definition of is. He's got, I mean, you take a look at my eyebrow. Something's not right. You could see the shadow of the eyebrow right there. Is he cutting his eyebrows so that they look like that? So that it gives him a more, I'm so sad. Is that what that is? I mean, for real? Let's put it on the screen again one more time, just so we can see. You can see the shadow right there. Is that, what do y'all think? Is Mike Pence shaving his eyebrows like this intentionally? That's the question I want to know. Did they take and do a poll? What do they call that? Where they go out and test things politically? I don't know. I don't know. I just he's a Christian. So he says. Anyways, pray for him. He needs his eyebrows back. The guy's losing his eyebrows. Needs them back. Speaking of the 25th Amendment, here's Scott Jennings on CNN.
I don't deny the usefulness of having surrogates and allies, but I think you're oversubscribing their importance and undersubscribing the importance of Trump himself. And I think, frankly, the only reason we're playing them on our air right now is because they're useful to a narrative. We don't consider these people to be credible at any other time until they are attacking Donald Trump. Otherwise, we call them crazy. Otherwise, we call them crazy.
No, I'm being careful. I'm being very careful about it because I said I don't view Alex Jones as credible. I don't view Tucker Carlson as credible, or as a conservative anyway. Is what it is. However, I do travel the country and talk to a lot of Trump voters who listen to these people. And I respect them and their choices, and they do listen to them. I'm not saying they side with them, but they.
I'm not disagreeing they listen. I'm not disagreeing they listen, but again, I would just say listening to someone and taking their word for everything over Donald Trump every day. I just.
Let me ask you a question.
So I ask you again, why is his eyebrows that way? Anyway, so there's Scott Jennings, who's just pointing out that CNN, who's had Tucker and Candace and Alex Jones and all the rest, Marjorie Taylor Greene, all on their shows. By the way, do you know they pay them to come on the shows? I'm just saying, you get paid when you come on these shows. Just saying, don't do it for free. All of a sudden, they're the darlings of the MSNBCs and the CNNs. Just like Mike Pence was the darling of MSNBC and CNN when he come out against Trump. Look, Donald Trump. Oh, I'm going to run for president. You're not going to win. It's just not. It's not going to happen. Here is Gateway Pundit reporting. Beyond parody, Newsweek publishes a poll saying the majority of Americans want Trump impeached. Amidst the poll was conducted by a group called Impeach Trump Again. The once great magazine Newsweek recently published a story about a poll that clearly made it sound like the majority of Americans want Trump to be impeached again. Yet, if they actually read the story, it's almost immediately clear that the story and the poll are completely bogus. The article even admits that one of the two groups behind the poll is called Impeach Trump Again. They sound objective, don't they? Can't make this up. That's it right there. Over half Americans want Congress to impeach Trump now, according to a new poll. 1 in 7 Republican backs it. What a load of crap. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was the one of the 7. 52% of registered voters back impeachment compared to 40% opposed. According to a survey of 790 voters. Anybody get surveyed by these folks? Commissioned by two groups opposing his Iran war and other policies. The funding includes one of 7 Republicans supporting removal, 1 in 7 Republicans supporting removal proceedings. The survey, 2 sponsors were in. Let's just stop and just look at this right. So 790 voters. 1 in 7 Republicans supporting remover, but 40% are 52% are saying, just do the math on that. So 52% of this number, and 1 in 7 of them are just. That means they probably polled 7 Republicans out of the group. I don't know. Anyways, this is a push-poll survey commissioned by and funded by a specifically anti-Trump progressive organization actively campaigning for impeachment. They polled 800 people, mostly affiliated with their cause. Duh. You know, it's like when MSNBC does a poll. They go out to their press room and says, "Does anybody like Trump?" No one? No one likes Trump in America today. News at 11. Yeah, this is just dumb on so many levels. Some of the dumbest stuff we've seen today. Now we're going to switch to a different story. In other news, so while all this was going on, while Iran was at war and all this is happening, the Epstein stuff is just starting to die down. Now, you know my theory on this Epstein stuff, right? There's a whole lot more to come. You remember that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey was going, Donald Trump, Epstein, Donald Trump, Epstein, Donald Trump, Epstein, Donald Trump, Epstein. They started in June. Thomas Massey never cared about Epstein until June of this year. Until then we got released the files of the Southern District of New York that were held and controlled by Jane Comey's daughter. Yes, those files. And Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene and the rest of them wanted it released. And they were screaming and hooting and hollering about releasing those particular files. And they screamed and hooted January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. And then on December 24th, 2025, how many remember? The Trump administration came out and said, holy Shazam. We just found millions of more Epstein documents in a burn bag that didn't get burned. All these magic burn bags that didn't get burned in the FBI. Either the FBI is completely incompetent or somebody was working with the Trump administration. Somebody was working with the good guys. Do you remember that? And then between Christmas, the 25th of December, all the way through the end of January, not a peep, not a symbol, not a word, nothing from Marjorie Taylor Greene or Thomas Massey or anyone else. Why did they shut up? I'll tell you why. Because they knew exactly what was in those documents in the Southern District of New York. They knew that all of their names had been taken out. All of their friends' names had been taken out. All of their donors' names had been taken out. And Donald Trump's name was added. And other people they wanted to get rid of too. So they wanted those ones released. But when Donald Trump came out, his administration came out, golly Shazam, we just found millions of more documents. They all went, because they have no idea what's in those documents. And then they released the documents. And there was a bunch of stuff in there. And for a few days, Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene stood with the ladies. Remember, they had all the ladies there. They were protesting. We're Donald Trump's victims. We never saw Donald Trump or had anything to do with Donald Trump, but we're the victims. Remember? And Thomas Massey in June was going, I'm going to release the names of the people that messed with these women when they were little girls. I have the names and I'm going to release them. Thomas Massey, where's the names? How come you haven't released? Thomas Massey, I hereby demand again that you release the names of the people who were diddly children that you said you had, that you have not released yet. Who are you covering for, and who are you hiding? Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you said you had the names. You said you was going to release them, but you haven't. Why not? Trump provided all kinds of people are still finding stuff in these documents because it takes more than an hour to go through them. More and more and more documents are being exposed. But all of a sudden, in the midst of all the Iran, all the stuff, nobody's talking about Epstein. All of a sudden, Melania Trump comes out and talks about Epstein. Why would she do? Why would Trump? Why would the MSNBC types are saying Donald Trump didn't know that Melania was going to line up in the White House with the American flag behind her with the press corps and a news release, and he didn't know she was going to do it. That is completely Bernie Sanders BS. Of course he knew. The Trump administration knew. It's intentional. Why? To drop the Epstein conversation right back into the media again. Because there's another burn bag or something coming. And that's the one we all want. And they're not going to release it. until closer to the next election. I mean, why? Donald Trump's learned how to play the game. It's all politics. But here's Melania making sure Epstein's back in everybody's mind, because people, it had come out in the Epstein files, and the media was really pushing this. They weren't talking about some of the other stuff, but they were really pushing this, that Epstein introduced Melania and Trump. Here's her response.
Being friends with Epstein, Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania. The first time I crossed paths with Epstein was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together. At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge of his criminal undertakings. Numerous fake images and statements about Epstein and me have been circulating on social media for years now. Be cautious about what you believe. These images and stories are completely false.
And here's a little bit more.
My name has never appeared in court documents, depositions, victim statements, or FBI interviews surrounding the Epstein matter. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island. I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking, abuse of minors, and other repulsive behavior. The false smears about me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause damage to my good name, to gain financially and climb politically, must stop. My attorneys and I have fought these unfounded and baseless lies with success and will continue to maintain my sound reputation without hesitation. To date, several individuals and companies have been legally obligated to publicly apologize and retract their lies about me, such as Daily Beast, James Carville, and HarperCollins, UK. Now is the time for Congress to act. Epstein was not alone. Several prominent male executives resigned from their powerful positions after this matter became widely politicized. Of course, this doesn't amount to guilt, but we still must work openly and transparently to uncover the truth. I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record. Then, and only then, we will have the truth. Thank you.
The Secretary let me continue serving. Marched off like a boss. And you see what she did? All those women that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey were standing with that were paid for by the Tides Foundation and George Soros and paid for by, what's the guy who's massively accused and diddling children down there? What's his name? One of the PayPal founders with Elon. I can't think of his name now. He was funding those girls too. And it turns out that most of those girls were adults. And as we discussed before, some women and men will do whatever it takes to enter into the lifestyle of the rich and famous, to be a jet setter. They'll do whatever it takes. And they did. And they recruited and abused many, many, many women right along with Epstein and the rest of them. Yeah. Funny how that works out, right? Funny how that just kind of works itself out. Here is a lady breaking down, and I've heard this story before, by the way. Little more. In fact, I think I've read some pretty deep dives into this, but she's bringing this back up, and I think it's important to share it about some stuff that came out of the Epstein files, not the files that were in the Southern District of New York, but the two successive drops after December of Epstein. And I bet you there's more to come. I bet you the reason they're bringing this up, because golly gee, they're going to find some more. And those are going to be the ones. And they'll come out about, I don't know, what do you say, Mike? August, September timeframe, give people time to digest it.
How is this Epstein file not front page news? So a man named Ken Turner was investigating a trafficking network in Mexico for 17 years. As it unfolded, it began to implicate Epstein, Richard Marcinko, who was a SEAL Team 6 commander, and multiple U.S. officials. And on July 27th, 2019, so 2 weeks before Epstein supposedly himself, he sent an email saying, "We've had another serious incident since an American shot the trial judge in our child sex trafficking case here. He and I both think this latest incident is tied to the fact that we have reached out to your team. Who on your team knows we are talking to you? Is it anyone assigned from NSA, CIA, or the U.S. State Department? Please understand people's lives here are in jeopardy. We've already had 4 armed attacks against us. My partner has shot and killed 2 and wounded 5 American agents to date. Numerous white American agents are following us in vans assigned to U.S. embassies. Jorge was attacked and lost his arm. The president of Mexico is keenly aware of our case against Redacted and other U.S. officials. This case we have here is most certainly connected to yours. We have the proof. Our case will help bring a whole new dynamic to what you know and who's involved. Prince Philip is a small fry compared to what we have uncovered." And then somebody responds to his email and says, "My task force is not affiliated with the intelligence community if you want to arrange a call time." Then on August 5th, so 5 days before Epstein supposedly himself, Ken Turner sends another email, so the guy from the first email chain, and it says, "My nephew Logan Turner was shot and killed in the mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio last evening. I'm rushing home to be with my immediate family. All investigative work on Marcinko and Epstein is still in process, and we've uncovered more videos and photos of the two of them together in Mexico. Another attempt by U.S. Embassy security team was made yesterday when they stopped my partner and searched her car looking for the videos and photos we've uncovered that they told her could not leave Mexico. They were not in her car. Someone does not want this data disclosed." So what do you think? Could the Dayton shooting have been a warning to Ken Turner to stop investigating Epstein? Then on August 10th, so the same day that Epstein supposedly himself, he sends another email saying, just heard about Epstein. Based upon what we've discovered here and who was involved, we don't believe it was suicide. If you want a full deep dive on this with links to all of the files, just comment Mexico below and I'll send it over to you. I created an entire Substack.
So there's that. That's bringing back a story that we talked about that story. There were several deep dives into that people did at the time that these files were released in January. There's something going on, somebody investigating this big time in Mexico. But the United States the United States State Department has been trying to stop it for some reason. And you have to ask yourself, why? What was that all about? And then you got this one right here. Again, this timing is interesting to me. Melania comes out. Nobody's talking about Epstein. Everybody's talking about the war. And you got Melania does her press conference and walks away like a boss. And you got Anna Paulina Luna, who has taken the place of Marjorie Taylor Greene, in my opinion, as a mega warrior. She comes out and says this.
That Jeffrey Epstein was running a intelligence gathering operation. In my professional opinion, I do believe it was a honeypot operation. And I do believe that there's a list of individuals who did engage in trafficking, were given these plea deals, and I'm going to name those individuals right now. The first one would be Leslie Groff. The second one, Sarah Kellen. The third one, Nadia Markova. And the fourth one, Adriana Ross. All of these women engaged in the trafficking of minors as adults. They were working and complicit with Jeffrey Epstein's operation. And in my opinion, they are not to be given victim status because they did partake in harming young girls. I remember seeing in some of the files, some of these girls were, as young as 10, 11 years old and older. And so obviously we have a lot of work to do, but I did want to come and give an update and let you.
So she's saying she's bringing the ladies in to testify. All these ladies that want to spill the beans and testify are now going to be forced to spill the beans and testify under oath. Probably won't get that done till June or July or August, I imagine. Timing is everything. Remember, I keep telling you that at some point that there will not be enough people in Congress to hold a quorum because of all the stuff that's going to come out and all the stuff that they are involved in. And they will self-deport the country or the planet, one or the other. I don't know which. And see Fromar, is that how you say it? Fromar? Fromenar? Whatever. I'm with you, Mike. The Epstein stuff's going to hit the fan. You ought to hear what Mike S. says in the chat. He agrees with you. And everybody knows who he is and what kind of authority he has when he says stuff. Maybe they will fall in the fall. That's a possibility, Rob. I don't know. I'm just saying that there is these people are compromised in such ways. It's completely unbelievable how compromised they are. And it's going to cause some ramifications. Here's what MJ Truth Ultra says about Melania and her speech that she made. Do you understand what Melania Trump just did? She just called for Epstein survivors to be put in front of Congress and testify under oath. Why, when they've been so damn nasty? Why, when they've been so damn nasty? Yes. When the Epstein survivors first came out, I was sympathetic because I have a sympathetic heart for victims. But then I understood who funded them, and I understood they were dead silent when Joe Biden was president, but wanted to get loud when Trump became president. Melania Trump just said to all of them, testify under oath or shut the F up. Oh, it's coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming to a head, and it's going to be as nasty as anything we've ever seen. And God is going to bring this out. God says he's going to lift your skirt over your head and expose your nakedness. That's a biblical term. That means I'm going to expose all the things you don't want people to see. It's going to happen. And it's going to be ugly. UGLY, you ain't got no alibi. Speaking of, Tulsi Gabbard the other day on Fox News said this.
You go to odni.gov, people who say, well, Tulsi, this is just your view or your interpretation. No, it's all in hundreds of pages of documents that I've declassified and released that show point by point exactly what happened through this timeline that showed this very dangerous thing that occurred in the creation of Russiagate, the creation of this manufactured intelligence assessment that essentially had the intent of undermining the voices and votes of the American people who elected Donald Trump. They were not happy with the outcome of that election. And so they created this politicized, weaponized piece of fake intelligence that, as you mentioned, then went on to serve as a foundation for everything that came after the multiple investigations, the years-long Mueller investigation, 2 congressional impeachments, investigations in the raid at Mar-a-Lago. The list goes on and on. Ultimately, the real crime here was against the American people because this action singularly undermined the integrity of our democratic republic. What to speak of the fact that some of those folks and those 37 individuals that we revoked, directed the revocation of security clearances from today by under the direction of President Trump, they aided and abetted in this action, this seditious conspiracy that undermined our democracy, undermined our republic, and broke that sacred trust that every one of these professionals is supposed to have from the American people.
There's another video, and I forgot to share it. I'm going to find it. I'll share it on my Telegram page. It's about 15 minutes long. It's an interview of Barack Hussein Obama, who admitted that the CIA had the evidence that Donald Trump was compromised by the Russia stuff. And he said it before it was supposedly created. Listen to what I'm saying to you. They had that Clapper and Brennan and them put together the Russia documents and stuff that they gave to Obama after or just prior to the election in 2016, 2015, 2016, 2017, whatever it was. Barack Obama, in an interview, let the cat out of a bag, just a throwaway line that the CIA had evidence of Russia, prior to that information even being put together and presented to him. Oh, yeah. You see, as I've pointed out over and over again, seditious conspiracy. What the grand jury down in Florida is doing is seditious conspiracy. And you see, they were all screaming here earlier this year. Donald Trump couldn't do anything. His DOJ couldn't do anything because the 5-year limitations had run out on all of this stuff on January 6th and all of this stuff. Remember that? But if January 6th was a conspiracy to take out a elected, soon-to-be seated president of the United States of America, to continue the seditious conspiracy that Barack Obama and James Clapper and Jim Comey and the rest of them was conspiring all the way through the impeachment hoax number 1, the impeachment hoax number 2, all the way through all the stuff that they were doing. January 6th, the raid on Mar-a-Lago, all that stuff was a continuance of the conspiracy to stop Trump. Then the 5 years restarts each time. Every time James Clapper or Adam Shifty Schiff or Nancy Pelosi or John Brennan or John Bolton or any of the conspirators gets on CNN or MSNBC and says, Russia, 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 they are continuing the conspiracy, the time limit starts over. Every time one of the seditious six get up and say the military should rise up in a coup and take out the presidency, not in those words, but that's what they're insinuating, it's a continuation of the seditious conspiracy. The timeline starts over on all of it. And then there's more news coming from John Solomon. This is breaking news from Just the News. This is just the other day. And it's about files that have been found at the DOJ. Shocked, I tell you, shocked. Just these people were horrible at getting rid of their burn bags. I'm just saying, they just keep finding stuff. By the way, let me just point out that my sarcasm is real, because I don't think they just found any of this stuff. I think when Donald Trump said, we have it all, they had it all. I think that this was the raid on Mar-a-Lago was all about, because these people are stupid. They think they're the smartest people on the planet. They got educations from Harvard. We're so smart. But they're really just dumb. They're just, in their intelligence, they're ignorant. Because why would Donald Trump keep that stuff at Mar-a-Lago? Because that's where I'd keep it in my, like Bill Clinton, I'd keep it in my underwear drawer. Remember that? No. Donald Trump's a multi-billionaire with assets all over the world. Why would he keep it there? Oh, that stuff was squirreled away somewhere where they could never get to it without starting a war somewhere. I'm just saying. Here is Just the News on new information coming out about January 6th. Something we've all known, but now the proof is available.
Yeah, they did. They had a tabletop exercise that they ran in Boston in August of 2020, 5 months before January 6th occurred. The memos, which Kash Patel just turned over to Congress, he just found them recently, turned them over to Congress at the request of Chairman Barry Loudermilk, who's in charge of the J6 investigation now in the House, show that the FBI knew there was a strong possibility of a hanging election or a contested election, that both sides appeared to be agitated and likely could likely carry out that agitation to the point of violence. And they even devised very specific strategies. And one of them is to embed informants inside the groups where the most likely political violence or political agitation might occur. That is something that the FBI did. We had 24 informants on the ground on the morning of January 6th. The second thing they recommended was mass prosecutions, even for the most minor of crimes. Exactly what the FBI did after January 6th. Now, there are two big things about that strategy. It's pretty clear the strategy was hatched months before, and that's what they carried out. It's not the strategy they used for the political violence at BLM and the far left conducted all throughout the summer and fall of 2020. So a very clear double standard. The second thing is they did embed informants in a lot of groups, including left and right groups, Antifa and right-wing groups, and they got lots of intelligence suggesting a bad episode would occur. We now know from Chairman Barry Loudermilk that while those warnings were very strong from the informants, the preparations and the warnings from the FBI to their brethren in the Capitol in Washington, D.C. did not exist. They didn't pass on the warnings from the informants. So two failed examples of the Chris Wray era of the FBI. Knowing something was going to happen, implementing a strategy that hurt conservatives but not liberals, and not warning the people who could actually prevent the violence from occurring. That is the legacy of the Chris Wray FBI. It's what we now have out in open. These documents are now out there for everybody to see. Pretty stunning, though maybe not so stunning given what we've learned about the FBI.
So there you have it. Information is starting to come out about the pre-planned events on January 6th. and their failures, if you want to call it a failure, to do anything about it. And as I always said, that year, go back to that year, that election year, where we were shut down, everything was shut down because of the Rona. Donald Trump couldn't have his big rallies, which was part of the reason why they wanted to shut everything down, because it took away the advantage that Trump had, and Joe Biden could hide in his basement. But Trump would fly in on Air Force One, have big rally at an airport. He'd announce it on Wednesday that on Friday he's going to be in Walla Walla, Washington, or Tupac or someplace crazy. And he would land his plane, and 35,000 people were cheering to YMCA. He'd come out, give his little campaign speech, get back on the plane, and fly away. Sometimes he would do 2 or 3 of these events. But as Dan Bongino said, that's not how the Secret Service works. You can't tell the Secret Service, we're going to land in Walla Walla, Washington on Friday, it's Wednesday, and we're going to have an event. No. They've known about that event for weeks and weeks, if not months and months. They've had advanced teams there. They've occupied all the ground. You know, they made sure the roofs weren't sloped too much, that kind of thing. But for some reason, well, let me back up. The reason why they announced it on Wednesday that he was going to be, even though they've known for months, is Operation Security. You see, if the bad guys don't know that he's going to be in Walla Walla, Washington Friday until Wednesday, it's hard for them to set up a plan to scout the area, to do all stuff, especially scouting the area, because the Secret Service is already there. But what did Donald Trump do? On Christmas or Christmas Eve or the day after Christmas, I don't remember now, he got out and he gave a speech, and he said he was going to have a rally in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. Gave them a few weeks to put their plan into place. Why? Because just like Just the News was just saying, they had pre-planned in 2020 a plan to do January 6, 2021, and he gave them an opportunity to do it. Let's think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. Why did he announce it 2 or 2.5 weeks ahead? Why did he do that? They never, ever, ever do that with a president. Ever. Oh, sure, these big state events where he goes over to the G7 or something is planned way, everybody knows. But that's a different thing. There's lots of on these campaign rallies, this kind of stuff, they never announce it that quick. So why did he do it that time? Because he gave them an opportunity to do what they did on January 6th. That's right, Ray Epps. We must go into the Capitol. It's that way. Of course, they never prosecuted him. They never prosecuted John Solomon. John, is it John Solomon? No, it's the other Solomon. The one who stood in the Capitol with a CNN reporter and said, "We did it. We did it." Yeah, never prosecuted those people. Anyways, interesting times we are living in as all of this stuff is starting to unravel and fall apart. And then, of course, you have the SAVE Act, which I have said will not pass. They will not pass the SAVE Act. It will not pass. They'll do everything they can to not pass it. And then, while the war's going on and all that's happening, they try to sneak in an amnesty bill. The Republicans try to sneak in an amnesty bill. How about that? Because they hate you. What's most infuriating, we have to keep fighting off pro-amnesty Republicans instead of pushing the Save America Act, advancing mass deportations, affordable housing for Gen Z, and abolishing sanctuary cities. The agenda is very simple, and yet big business refuses to learn. Yep. Oh, by the way, what's going on? Here's how this weekend The Trump administration's over in Iran and they're negotiating terms, and this is kind of how the negotiating's going. 'Tis but a flesh wound. Let's call it a draw. This is it right here. It's a Monty Python skit. For real.
Classified payments.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about that right now. We got other things. We want to talk about because we got to get to some of this Save America Act stuff. It's gonna. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you this story. So there was a school shooting yesterday, or an attempted school shooting yesterday. Listen to this story. We need more guys like this guy around our kids.
I've been telling a very different story today. Principal Moore didn't do what he did here yesterday. Now, I spoke with his pastor today, and he says that he was at the hospital. He went to go see the principal yesterday. He prayed with him, and he said he is expected to be okay. He said that the bullet just kind of grazed his knee, but everybody's grateful after what happened.
That was a very heroic act.
The heroic act that has the Pauls Valley community grateful for Principal Kirk Moore tonight, jumping into action and tackling the former student who investigators say tried to kill him and other students.
He is definitely the type of guy to do that. Some student was to get harmed, he would definitely take a bullet for him. I believe that.
That's what other grads say about him.
As soon as the bell rang and all the students were going to class, he was outside the office. He interacted with students in the lobby. He was friendly.
We also spoke to some who knew him most of his life.
Probably 55 years longer.
Harold Markham and Principal Moore went to school together and both graduated from Pauls Valley themselves. Long before he came back to coach, then later lead as assistant principal before becoming principal in 2021. Harold says what he did Tuesday just speaks to the type of person he is.
He's just a great guy. He really is. He really knows the kids. I'd lost a son about 4 years ago, and he set up the whole high school and everything for his funeral.
This is a look at a memorial the principal made for Harold's son. It sits in a courtyard on campus. The principal showing sympathy when it was needed and strength when the situation calls for that, too.
We're praying for you, Kirk, and get better, my man. Can't wait to see you.
And I did also reach out to family. Still waiting to hear back. Obviously, they're dealing with a lot right now. But speaking with the pastor, he said that Principal Moore is also a private person, so he declined to comment at this time. The school, though, has obtained an attorney. We're waiting to hear back from them for comment as well. For now, live in Pauls Valley, Chantal Navarro, KFCO 5 News.
So a kid goes on campus to do mayhem. I'm wondering, was the kid a boy or a girl or confused? Standard operating procedure, go with confused. And this principal acted, instead of panicked and retreat and cried in the corner, tackled the kid, disarmed the kid, and in the process, he got shot in the leg. Looks like he will make a full recovery, and that's great. Pray for him. Fantastic story. Applaud that guy. Needs a President Medal of Valor, in my opinion. Here's Brandon Gill as he moves to nullify the amnesty bill that the GOP is trying to put forth to stick a middle finger right into the eye of the American people.
It's actually called the Dignidad Act. It's a Spanish word, and that's straight from the bill text. It's written in a foreign language because it's a bill that benefits foreigners over American citizens. But this is an amnesty bill, plain and simple. What it does is it gives legal status to about 12 million illegal aliens. Not only that, but it says that it effectively stops the president from deporting illegal aliens.
That's what this is about, by the way. This is an in run by the deep state sellout Republican pieces of crap to try to stop Donald Trump's deportation, which is what he was elected for. The Senate will not pass the SAVE Act. Donald Trump will have to sign an emergency executive order in order to stop all this stuff. It may go as far as the Insurrection Act, because these people have sold their souls. These people have sold their souls in America. Let me just give you an example. There's a video going around, maybe you've seen it, where this illegal Haitian immigrant bludgeons a shopkeeper at a gas station to death out in cold blood in the street, and for no reason other than she happened to be standing there, as it turns out. Here's the story. I'm not playing the video. It's too graphic. I just can't do it. But here's the story from Fox.
A migrant from Haiti has been arrested and is accused of killing a mother at a Florida gas station just last week. He reportedly struck the victim with a hammer multiple times. The migrant was released into the U.S. under then President Biden in 2022 on a temporary protected status. He is facing multiple charges, including homicide.
Marine got one, or maybe it was Mike. I don't know. So this dude, he needs this dude right here. We need the chair, or the firing squad, or short rope. It doesn't matter. That's what we need to start doing with these people. If you've seen the video, don't go looking for it. Don't go watching. It's too disgusting. It really is. It's just horrible. Here, speaking of horrible, here's some Muslims acting like Muslims, and I don't know where they are, somewhere in the hood, and these two Muslim dudes are beating on this black guy. And as Muslims normally do, when they think they have the power, they'll assert the power. They will act on their power. But once the power changes, they run like little girls begging.
You look like you about to get I said it.
Beating up the
Yo, tell me, gonna tell you. You better tell what? Yo, I got the grip.
That's why I keep my knife on me all the time, man. Shit like this, you never know. I know, man.
And I don't, by the way, I don't agree with what this guy did. I don't agree in how he did it. Totally wrong way to handle the situation. What you do is you pull your concealed weapon and done, problem solved. But I digress. But it did kind of change the power structure here, and it was kind of funny watching those guys go, no, we didn't mean it, we didn't mean it. We didn't mean it. But the guy wasn't even trying to do anything. He just tore up the McDonald's or whatever it was there. If he had taken he didn't even take he had a cover on his hatchet. There's a little cover on it, little leather cover. He didn't even take that off. I mean, if he used that hatchet, they would have been a mess for real. I mean, they wouldn't have had to. They would have had no way of stopping that. No way of stopping that. I just want to show you. I just want to show you something, right? This is the Senate. They're keeping the Senate open. The Senate just convened to get and gavelled out after pro forma session. It lasted 30 seconds to prevent Donald Trump. Donald Trump, when they go out of session, Donald Trump can do appointments, and they're trying to stop him. The Republicans are not confirming his nominations and stopping Donald Trump from just doing it.
The Senate will come to order. The clerk will read a communication to the Senate.
Washington, D.C., April 9th, 2026. To the Senate, under the provisions of Rule 1, Paragraph 3 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, I hereby appoint the Honorable John Barrasso, a senator from the state of Wyoming, to perform the duties of the chair. Signed, Chuck Grassley, President pro tempore.
Under the previous order, the Senate stands adjourned until 3 p.m. on Monday, April 13th, 2026.
Oh, it's Senator Thune. It's Senator Grassley. No, it's all the senators, except maybe Mike Lee, who's still on the floor, I think, today, bitching about it. It's all of them. They're all compromised. We're going to find out. We're going to find out that they've been down there diddling on the ranch or on the island. We're going to find out that they're all getting paid by the cartels. We're going to find out a bunch of other nefarious stuff, getting money from foreign. You know, you got Thomas Massey screaming, they're getting money from the Jews through AIPAC. Well, first of all, AIPAC is an American PAC funded by Americans, whether or not they have Jewish heritage or not. But Qatar is not, and the money they're spending to buy politicians is not. And the other thing, we need to get rid of the dual citizenship. That is a canard. Only about 10% of all elected officials in D.C. have dual citizenships, and most of them aren't with Jews, aren't Israel. That's a lie to get you all fired up, looking over here at the Jews instead of at the perverts in the office chambers doing the Brokeback Mountain thing and putting it on porn sites. The congressmen and the senators and their hot and cold running interns. Ain't that right, Swalwell? And their pineapple parties. Don't look at that. Don't look at the money they're getting into their campaigns funneled through Act Blue that is all coming from foreign countries. Don't look at that. Look at the Jews. And that's just off the top of my head, 10 seconds that I could come up with. Our entire system is screwed. Focus on the lobbyists. We got to ban AIPAC from lobbying. I agree. We need to ban all lobbyists. We need campaign finance reform. I agree. We need to allow politicians to get any money from anywhere they want except for foreign sources. And they have to create a website and account for every single dollar they got, where it goes, and then we need to make a law that anybody related to by family or by prior relationship is not allowed to receive campaign money for the purchase of anything, i.e., Bernie Sanders cannot hire his wife to be, and his wife's corporation, to be the manager of their ad buys. Can't do it. You can't transfer $10 million to your wife's company so she can purchase $500,000 in ad buys. So you get as much money as you want from whatever source you want, no more limits. That means if an individual wants to give $100 million to your campaign, but you have to put it on the website that you got $100 million from that individual, and then you have to account for every single dime you spend where it goes. Put it right there on the website so that all the American people can look at it and see who bought you. Thomas Massey. Oh, no, we can't have that. We can't do that. No, it's the Jews. Look at the Jews. There's a Jew running down the street. Look at him. That's the campaign. Have you ever noticed, Rush Limbaugh used to talk about this in the 90s. Have you ever noticed that every time they do campaign finance reform, it gets harder and harder and harder to tell where they get their money from. Rush Limbaugh used to call it the incumbent security reform. They get these super PACs. I think we should ban all PACs, all lobbyists, all of it. Ban it all. The money has to go straight into the, well, I didn't take any money. That was a PAC I had nothing to do with. See, the politician, they're not supposed to have anything to do with the PACs. I never talked to the PAC people at all. Trust me, would I lie? We get rid of all of it. The money goes into their campaign, is posted on their website, itemized to the penny, where it came from and where it went. I think I've solved a lot of this problem because then we know. We'll know. Then we know. That's what we need to do, in my opinion. Anyways, it's Friday. You know what that means. Don't forget that today's show is brought to you by Elevate, the little tiny pill that has made my wife so much happier. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's the happy pill. She gets more sleep. She's calmer. She feels less stressed out. It's one little tiny. It's not just for men. It's for not just for women. It's for men too. Get yourself some Elevate. The link right there, right up there. Just take your phone. Takes you right to it. Boom. Purchase it today. You'll have it in a couple days. You will feel better if you do it. So feel better. Make a difference in your life. Feel more focused, more energetic. Be able to get your list done during the day. Do you feel like, you're just kind of wandering around sometimes? You just don't know what's going on? That's what Elevate does. And then you throw in the boost because that link I'm giving you gives you a combo pack. You basically get the boost for free. Throw in the boost gummies, which gives you that burst of energy in the afternoon. When you get there to 3:00 and things are starting to slow down and you're feeling like, man, I need to take a nap. Hit a couple of boosts and you're good for several more hours. The boost is good stuff, all natural. These products are all natural. They're vegan friendly. They're sold in the European Union, Canada, Great Britain, and Australia. And we all know how much stringent they are, people say. I don't know. So come check it out. And it's Friday. And as I always say, over the weekend, go ahead and take a break. Put your feet up and relax. Do whatever it is. As springtime's coming, go plant some flowers in your garden. Turn off the electronics. Take a break. It's good for you. Do what Aaron does. At sunset tonight, he turns it all off and focuses on God till sunset Saturday. Do that. You know who else said to do that? Charlie Kirk. I know. He supposedly, the Jew haters say he hates the Jews, but then he tells you to do what the Jews do. So, I don't know. It's weird. Don't know who to trust anymore. You guys have a great day. Well, I will do a show after the show at right around noon because I'm going to go watch the celebration of the 1-year anniversary of the collapse of the former company and the birth of the new company. And if you want to watch it yourself right now, send me a message to PatriotMikeShow@gmail.com or over on Facebook. Best place on Facebook. Send me a message on Facebook. You can find the link to my Facebook page in the description section. And I'll get you added to the group so you can watch it too. All right. You have a great day. Patriot Mike. Dude.